Looking forward to game 2, Truff?
I am. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. So we are now in the game here, guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at what is going on with the blind band phase, starting as it always does. We got Clan Milk, of course, on the Legion team, and DDOS a part of the Hellborn side this time. So yeah, Clan Milk, though, so strong there in that first game. Now, this banning phase is going to be interesting, and now it turns out Clan Milk, they banned the same heroes that they did the first game with Ophelia and Demented Shaman, and then we got Moraxis and Monkey King blind ban this time around from DDOS. So no Draconis ban. Makes you wonder a little bit if Clan Milk is going to perhaps try to get the Draconis now as a result of that, but we'll see.
Yeah, that is interesting. I got to say, though, I just talked to Shams. I did mention how I kind of, not necessarily worked with them, but I talked with them about things that were important, how they can improve. And he said shout out to Tralf, and I thought it had to do with something with the, me coming into the studio finally. But he said shout out to Tralf, I think after they got the kill onto Swindle, because he said that how important that is to go and block your pull. It's just kind of an interesting, funny thing. But yeah, Ophelia, Demented Shaman, again, the Demented Shaman coming out from the Moravis as the blind band there, so they do recognize how important that is. And Swindle's going to hate me now because I just ruined his strategy, so to speak. But then again, if that's your only thing, then
I mean, it's again, I think Clan Milk is a smart enough team to do their own research.
So
it's not like you're a great guy, Trump, and everything. You do your research, but you're probably not the only one that may have noticed that.
No, I'm the only one. I'm the only one.
The only one, right? No, so very likely that Clan Milk could have spotted that themselves. So go ahead and deciding to take care of the Demented Shaman, not allowing DDOS to pick him up. But yeah, no Draconis lock though coming out from Clan Milk, despite DDOS not throwing the blind ban onto him. So probably not going to see him this time around unless he somehow makes it through that banning phase, but we'll see if DDOS lets that happen. But interesting lockpick phase once again to start things off here. We got Pandemonium once again being locked by Clan Milk. They locked the last game too, I believe. Then we got Tempest Gemini actually from DDOS, and then back to Magnus and Plague Rider over here on the Legion side for Clan Milk. So interesting start once again, and we do have a Pandemonium and a Gemini thrown in there.
Yeah, one thing I'm thinking about, I was going to talk about how I really do like Plague, and he's especially great in the long lane, and, it's unfortunate for Swindle that he did get picked off there. Great job by Clan Milk. But I'm actually thinking it's easier to run down on the Hellborn side to place that ward than it is it's easier for the Hellborn to run down to place that ward as a suicide Plague than it is for Hellborn, because Hellborn, you actually have to go through the fog and the trees to get that ward placed, but when you're, Legion, you have to screw me up. But Hellborn, you walk down, and it's like you just walk to that little open space. You can actually see all the ganks that are happening there. That's never a thing I thought about. But just play a role. But yeah, as far as the lock goes, that is interesting. Panda, I'm kind of a little bit baffled by that. I think it's funny too that Swindle locked Gemini, because I know that Moravis actually likes to play Gemini.
Oh yeah.
So maybe we'll see another Gemini game here in the works.
Well, look at this lock pool though. DDOS really put themselves in it was actually a pretty smart lock when you think about the final lock, because now they put Clan Milk in an interesting spot, because you got to think Clan Milk, they may first pick Tempest, Magnus, or Plague Rider here, and that's going to leave DDOS to get the other two of those, and then that means Clan Milk will probably have to choose from Pandemonium, Gemini, or Drunken Master. Not to say that's a hugely bad thing, because as you just put it, Moravis apparently likes to play a Gemini. They've locked Pandemonium now 2 games in a row, so clearly they must have something in mind that they do with him. And then the Drunken Master, he's actually a pretty powerful hero. And if I'm not mistaken, today even, did he get some changes? Yeah, he did. His charge game was actually increased on the drink charges, and his stagger was also buffed on top of that. So he actually did get a couple of slight buffs here as a result of the patch today. So, I could see that as very likely being an option too. But, what do you make of that?
That's an interesting thing, yeah. You mentioned that you have a lot more strategy involved, I think, when you're Hellborn side. That's one of the risky things, is locking a not-so-great, top-tier hero first when you're Legion side, because then it's like it's in Hellborn's hands. They get to decide whether you want to play with, crappy, quote-unquote, heroes or not. And right now, you're right. They're going to have to choose from Gemini, Panda, or Drunken Master, of course, if they do decide to take Magnus, Plague, or Tempest, which I don't know why they wouldn't. But yeah, no, it is kind of interesting. But the bans and the Actually, this picking stage has begun. Glacius is first picked by Moravis. Some of the bans are Tundra, Pebbles, Keeper, Silhouette, Nymphora, and Dark Lady. Again, Nymphora is kind of interesting. He wasn't picked or banned at all last game, but I don't know. Maybe Moravis just thinks that Swindle's going to go back to that.
Yeah.
Dark Lady now banned as well. So Magebane is the only one of those kind of 3 hard carries that I talked about all the time that is left unbanned. And I'm actually, in that strategy, I actually might have picked him up. But did Fade get banned? Did I miss that?
No.
Fade is still open.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an interesting thing as well.
Well, that does bring up the point, though, for Clan Milk. Whether it's Gemini, Pandemonium, or Drunken Master, that's more of that carry, definitely a farm-heavy hero. So,
right.
That does limit Clan Milk a little bit in terms of getting a hero like a Magebane or even a Forsaken Archer or something like that. If they would want to go that route. Not to say that they absolutely can't, but again, just bringing that up. But there you go, Torture and Fade. Sure enough, follow-up picks here from DDOS. So maybe anticipating that Magebane, but even so, again, Fade in our own right, as we saw even in the last game. Very, very strong hero, and DDOS definitely loves to run them. So run her, excuse me. So final 2 picks here for Clan Milk. Very intrigued, especially, again, knowing that very likely that they're going to get one of those 3 heroes. How do they now address their lineup as a result of that? So Jerizaiah is on the board. He's usually banned by this time, but he's definitely an option for Clan Milk over here if they want a strong hero, of course.
Yeah, he is on the board. The other thing that I think would be strong too is I really like Parasite, especially when you have a Glacius. That gives you a lot of options. You can go with some sort of pseudo tri-lane in the long lane and be very aggressive with it. Mm-hmm. Things like TT Esports is very common. They will run an aggressive tri-lane with a Glacius and something like a Valkyrie. They do that quite frequently. Also, I would actually even pick a Luna right here just to get all those very, very good supports away from DDoS. I could totally see a Luna being picked up by them. They do go with the Bubbles. Is also a very strong hero. I don't disagree with that at all. And Forsaken Archer, so they're going to have a very strong lane with the FA and Glacius. We've seen it work over and over. So, yeah, I like those picks. I think they're just fine.
Yeah, again, though, that does go back to my point now that they are going to get one of those 3 heroes. Again, not especially with them being melee lane, you did go with the range carry in the Forsaken Archer. Maybe that does make a little bit more sense. But back to DDoS now, of course, finishing off strong themselves. We'll see who they look to take right here. Again, still Jerizaiah. Definitely wouldn't be too surprised to see that as an option. You talked about a Luna on top of that being a very powerful option here for DDoS to go with the great support. So definitely the choices are on the board here for our Hellborn team, as apparently you're thinking it's Magebane.
I just see why not,
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Actually, there we go. The Master of Arms instead going to be the hero of choice. And you've talked about Master of Arms. You definitely like him, and a lot of abilities, of course, and seems to be underused somewhat, but not the easiest hero to play.
Yeah,
shocker.
Yeah, none of these picks were shockers at all. And they do go with the Pandemonium. I was actually going to say, I hope they pick Gemini, because they could do a Bubble Suicide top, a Glacius FA bottom with a Tempest Pseudo Tri-Lane, and then anything mid. I think they're going to go Pandemonium mid. I really do.
You think they're going to go with still with the Glacius Forsaken lane, though? Because
I feel like that's a lane that you should not have otherwise. That lane is so powerful together. They can maybe even do that mid. They can maybe risk it and go top, but I really think those heroes are destined for each other.
It's a romantic affair apparently for Glacius and Forsaken Archer. So, yeah, we'll see what Clan Milk decides to go as far as those lanes make out. Of course, Creams on Glacius, Shams on Forsaken Archer here for Clan Milk, Moravius on Pandemonium or Kangamonium in this case, playing the Kangaroo skin. We got Cakes on Bubbles, and then Mookies playing Tempest. And since I did it for the leading team, go ahead and do it for DDoS over there as well. Swindamelons on Torture. We got Get Violator on Fade. Fitzgay on Plague Rider. Lightning, a.k.a. Z-Freak on Magnus. And then Relo playing the Master of Arms. So vote to kick to start off the game. That's a great start there. Always knowing things are going well. Obviously meant to pause the game on accident. But yeah, so the Master of Arms, going back to him, though, being played by Relo here. And I would assume going to be focusing more on a carry-style Master of Arms rather than a support style, which we have seen as well.
Yeah, I really like that hero. It's one of those heroes, kind of like the Managed Shaman, that's kind of under the radar, just a little bit. People are kind of catching on, but no one ever plays Master of Arms. It feels like after DreamHack Winter 2011, he was picked up a lot, especially by Fnatic. No-Tail played him a lot. People just stopped picking him for some reason. I don't really know why. I think he's a great hero. He's got like I said, he's the epitome of a utility hero. He has 8 spells. Just a great overall hero. Does a lot of damage with that goo. He has a stun. He has a slow that does AoE. He can save heroes with his ultimate. He can make them stronger with his ultimate. He's a ranged hero. He's got everything. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a great hero. one thing I do want to say, just look at the discipline of this Clan Milk team. It's like when you watch Complexity, they do this a lot. You just train it into yourselves. You implement it every single game. You're getting this habit where they're constantly walking there. Bubbles is already way up here. He is going to keep his boots, by the way, because he has not sold them. Yeah. So he's going to have boots in this long lane against what's probably going to be a Torture. That's going to be a Suffer. But he's still going to get the ward off, which is not the biggest deal, because if they do a solo Torture, he's not going to be pulling that much. So he's going to have a really, really rough time in this top lane. But nonetheless, you just still see the idea that Clan Milk is they're very smart about this and very seasoned now after doing this a lot. And they really respect how defending this pole is just a very, very important concept, and they need to do it every single game.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say DDOS also, learned the lesson from the first game there. Obviously, with Swindamel is not only not able to get a place down, but even got bloodlusted as a result. So, sure, Plague does have a couple of ward of sights this time around. Is going to be heading towards that long lane, but definitely didn't go boots, and is not even going in there right now, knowing very likely that the team is waiting there once again to perhaps get a kill. So he's going to try to be a lot more patient with this time around, and very likely as a result of that, at least the very first spawn may come up, but we'll see depending on what Crimson Glacius does here. If he tries to protect it even longer than that, how it plays out. But on that note, as far as these lanes do go, of course you mentioned the Torture versus Bubbles up top, but the bottom lane, Plague Rider and Fade actually going to be going up against what assumed to be a Glacius Pandemonium, although maybe Glacius might head mid as you're putting it, but at least Pandemonium is going to be down here. What do you make of that bottom lane?
I think they're definitely, again, I think Creams is walking here to the mid. Yeah. They still need to defend this pole, or this ward. If they were able to do that, they're going to prevent this lane from going back. And actually, interesting, Fitzky did not deny yet. He has the deniability, but he has not denied yet, so I don't know about that one. He walks in there, places the ward. But still, I would have liked for Creams to still defend that pole even before going to the mid lane. I do like the switch up there, having the Panda against 2, especially. You don't really want to have a 2-on-2 against a Plague, because your heroes are just going to get so gimped and experienced, and that's very easy for the opposition to get, or the Plague plus the whatever hero, in this case it's Fade, to get those levels faster, and then it's, that makes out for a very easy kill. I do like the switch up, but again, they got the ward down. Plague using that to deny just a little bit later than I would like him to. That spell is there to use, especially that's why he leveled it. If you're not going to have it, then why not have like a Nova for extra harass? So interesting a little bit there. Glacius is walking down here. He's roaming around, not quite sure what he's doing. There's no rune. There's no stacking time. Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
He might just straight up be adjusting. I mean, maybe they feel like Pandemonium. They would rather focus more farm on him than playing what you called a very powerful Forsaken Archer Glacius lane. Now, Forsaken Archer, especially being in the mid lane, you would think that she can still at least hold her own somewhat, despite it being 1 versus 2, at least in levels, and maybe a little bit of farm. But no doubt her farm is going to be nerfed as a result of this change. But yeah, so Clan Milk making a point that they do want to make sure that Pandemonium perhaps has a better time than this Forsaken Archer, as we see Magnus going to the bottom rune, and he's actually going to be there to protect it. But yeah, I assume that you're not a fan of this move, or
not at all. I mean, this would be fine if you were able to block this pull, or block this ward, preventing the pull. But see where the lane is? This is where the lane is going to be pretty much the entire first 6 minutes of the game. I mean, that's just Plague for you. If they were able to prevent that ward, they would have the lane pulled back because they would be able to double stack it like we saw Creams do in that game against Fnatic, and they would have perfect lane control. But right now, they're not going to be able to get any ganks from Tempest because the lane is pulled up so far back towards the Hellborn Tower. There's just no point for Glacius to even be here because they're not going to be able to get kills unless, Plague really, or Fade is really out of position. But, with teams of this caliber, you got to expect that they're going to be playing quite well. So, yeah, see, the lane is just still staying here. It's going to be hard for Tempest. He's going to have to just farm, which is fine. But, he could be getting kills at the same time, so I don't agree with this adjustment.
Yeah, and you did see right just prior to that, too. I mean, Fade, he was tanking the creep wave, basically, preventing it from going in tower range as a result of trying to make sure to keep the creep wave here. And again, as you said, it remains here, and this is what is going to happen. So now, granted, Pandemonium at least is kind of feeling a lot more confident about pushing up and going in for the occasional creep kill. He is 9-5 right now. Compared to that Fade, is also 9-5, so at the very least he is keeping up. But now you can get a look at Forsaken Archers. By the way, Magma stunning away here in the middle lane as Tempest was coming over to maybe set something up, but not going to happen. But Shams on Forsaken Archer at the same time.
Doing well.
He is doing very well. 14-5 against a 12-2 Master of Arms. So actually, again, holding his own. He has a level advantage and even the small creep farm advantage here.
Yeah, and at the same time, though, like I talked about, I don't like the adjustment from Clan Milk. I think Glacius would be extremely good in the mid lane, but I don't like this MOA Magnus lane in the mid at all. I mean, what can Magnus do? It's not like at one time I was thinking, okay, FA is actually doing really well against this dual lane, but what kind of dual lane is it? I mean, Magnus is just kind of sitting there. He can't really initiate on me because that stun range is so low until he hits level 3. Magnus is there kind of soaking HP. He has no farm because he shouldn't really be taking it as a support Magnus. Now, if they did this opposite, where Magnus was farming and MOA was like a support, that would make sense. Actually, First Blood coming out as Get Violated gets caught out by the combo from Panda Glacius, so good job there. And just as I'm talking about it, they still are able to prove me wrong yet again, and they get a kill there. But that really shouldn't happen. I mean, one of the things against when you're in a Plague lane, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's like, yes, we get the lane back, but you get the lane back so quickly that oftentimes your tank creeps before you even realize it.
Yeah.
And they had the creep wave up there, so they were taking extra damage. I'm assuming that's what happened. And just a good heads-up play by Clan Milk to recognize that. So you got to be careful. You got to play a little bit smarter when you have that Plague in your lane. The lane's going to naturally get pushed back, and it's one thing you got to be scared of.
Yeah, I unfortunately... Oh, as Shell Surf poured out by Bubbles at the top lane just before the Lava Surge stun hit. That could have been the death of him. If that Lava Surge hit as Torture, no doubt would have followed it up, but at least Bubbles stays alive. But actually, on that note, I mean, you mentioned from the beginning, especially with him going boots first, Swindamel and Torture just dominating this top lane, 23-12 against a 4-3 Bubbles. And we do see Bubbles once again doesn't have mana for Shell Surf. Now, he does have a couple mana battery charges. Granted, Magnus doesn't have enough mana for Lava Surge as well, but in comes the chain reactions. It will land. Trying to do some hero blocking. Not going to be enough, though. Will that Lava Surge be coming up shortly? No, it will not. And so Bubbles will be able to sneak on out of there. But, yeah, clearly Cakes on Bubbles just not having a good time at the top lane. Again, as expected, though, because of the circumstance. But, yeah, back to the bottom lane. I mean, you even see the Hellborn team placing a Revelation here. I don't think it actually counter-warded anything. Or maybe it's just also to counter the counter-ward attempts. That would eventually come out, but they maybe expected a ward side being there, but of course nothing was there. So unfortunate use right there. We do see Glacius once again coming in though. Burning Shadows to stun Pandemonium. However, the Ice Imprisonment going to hit. Are we going to do that Cannonball? Yes, we are. The Cannonball hits, and there is the Flurry auto attack, or the Flurry attack even coming out for Pandemonium, or Kingamonium in this case, to get the kill once again. So that's difficult, man. Ice Imprisonment sets up an easy Cannonball, as we saw right there.
Yeah, and he is maxing Cannonball. I really agree with that decision. And he's going to go for it. He actually gets it on the Plague Rider, and he just dies instantly. So really well-placed Cannonball there from Panda. Being played by Moravis. It's actually quite easy when you have those early Ghost Marchers. So good job by him.
Yeah. And you see the middle lane, actually. Wow, Master of Arms nearly dropping right there. In fact, he actually activates his defensive Master's Call to try to stay alive. Now, Crippling Volley will hit right here, but the Master's Call may be the saving grace when it's all said and done. And the final line of attack, the Skeletons are going to finish him off, actually. Magnus comes in with another double damage rune, however, and with the Plague Rider, poor Fitzke gets credit for the kill right there. But at least Forsaken Archer did get the kill onto Reload just prior to that. Of course, playing the Master of Arms, so that was the good news there for Forsaken Archer. But man, I mean, Forsaken Archer catching Master of Arms out and ended up getting the kill at least.
Yeah, I don't know if I really... I mean, yes, he got the kill before him, so he got the experience, but think about it this way. If he didn't get the kill, either way, Master of Arms was going to use all that time to walk back to base. FA could have been farming that whole time. And so, I mean, you got the kill, yes, but I would have rather him to play a little bit more conservatively and just sit back, let MOA go all the way back and heal, and use that time effectively to go get a lot of farm in the mid lane.
Yeah. Well, a couple of quiet heroes. Really, one that's standing out is Tempest. Mookie's on Tempest. I mean, again, he's been very quiet this early game. Now coming up to the 7.5-minute mark. Zero, I don't think he's even attempted to set up a gank. Granted, it's not even necessary at this bottom lane, both because of the push that's been happening and, well, with Pandemonium already being 1-0-2. But right as I say that, sure enough, Mookie's hitting down here. He does have a Pickled Brain being delivered, so Ring of Sorcery will be finished for Tempest at around 8 minutes or so. Coming up, so a little bit slow there perhaps, but again, at least he's getting by and getting that initial item as there we go with the delivery. But look at the port down here. Magnus is currently down here as well at the bottom lane. In fact, they may be coming to use right here as Pandemonium going up a little bit, but there's a Lava Surge that actually hits him while he was trying to cannonball away. The Burning Shadow's going to come out, and Pandemonium most likely going to fall right here, although the Ghost Marchers are pretty damn fast. Look at the Kangamonium, but with the Torture reporting, guarantees a kill in the Agonizing Bonds, and in fact picks up a double tap. So excellent homecoming stone port there from Torture, picking up the double tap, and may push the lane back even a little bit, although they're all going to fall back, as they're not going to aggressively push that tower, but good kill.
Yeah, it seemed like Moravis, he had like he didn't really know which target he wanted to go on. He couldn't
Yeah.
make up his mind. He was waiting, like, should I wait for the lava surge or should I just go now? And he kind of went in between, and it hurt him, and ended up hitting nothing. So, you know, situations like that, you really just got to make an executive decision and stick with it. It's similar to like playing a behemoth. Sometimes, like, do I got to get that perfect block? I remember one game actually. I mean, Hani plays a great behemoth, but I got to refer to one game where he was actually playing Clan Milk, and he missed like 6 stuns because he just constantly.
I remember that, yeah.
Should I stun now? Should I wait? You just got to be impulsive and go. That's really the best way to do it. Actually, initiation coming out on a Forsaken Archer. They might be diving a little deep though. Forsaken Archer volley as well as the ultimate comes out, as well as the kelp field. Oh my God, Torture is going to live with like 1 HP, 8 HP now on him. And he does not die, and Shams does fall, so that was extremely close, and Swindle's got to be really, really thinking he's lucky right now.
Oh, yeah. If I was him, definitely thinking on the lucky side, because, man, that could have been just as the other way, where he would have died and Forsaken could have lived, but very, very good job in the end when it's all said and done. Excellent day. He made a great job landing his chain reactions initially. It was a pretty good guess on his part, and just happened to catch Forsaken Archer. Granted, Shams did all he could to try to turn that around, but just wasn't enough. So good timing as well from Magnus. He just barely was able to dive in there and, of course, finish off Forsaken Archer, as we saw. So they're going to all go back and get some regen on, but porting back to their respective lanes. Meanwhile, at the bottom lane, we do so once again, pushed all the way up to the tower. Tempest is here now. Oh, he's kind of trying to be a little bit sneaky, almost as if he kind of just squirted in here a little bit. And there goes the cannonball stun. It's going to miss over Pandemonium. And now Pandemonium in a lot of trouble. The Plague is going to start bouncing around. Bounces over Tempest. Back to Pandemonium, actually. And Pandemonium will fall. You see him trying to lead them into the jungle. So that was actually a pretty smart play there from Moravis away from the team. But still, he goes down. And what was great ports once again from DDOS. And they get yet another kill onto him. Now the middle lane is going to be pressured by Bubbles and Forsaken Archer here. But Pandemonium seems like he once again, getting caught out, trying to play a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, he went for the stun. It didn't work. I think it's a little risky going for a stun like that right in front of a tower, because like right there you see, if you miss, you're dead. Like, they're going to turn on you. Actually, a lot of heroes in the mid lane, all 4 heroes. Magnus is coming on behind with his Striders. They do get the tower, though, so that's going to be good. That'll put them back in the lead for as far as gold goes. They are at a 1,500 experience deficit. That's due to the actually the 5 kills in a row that came off from DDoS. So the game is very, very early still. A lot of farm going off on the MOA right there at 255. And Torture is having such a great game. He's 330 gold per minute as he expected. I mean, Bubbles against Torture, especially when Bubbles has those boots first. I don't really... Maybe he thought there would be like a dual lane or a tri lane up here and just thought, he's not going to get anything. He might as well buy his early boots. I don't disagree with that at all. But yeah, Torturer, they have an early game team with this Hellborn team. Very, very early game, so it really should be in the lead for them right now. In fact, even a bigger lead than I would expect.
Oh, nice combination right there between Magnus and Torture. Magnus a perfect lined up Lava Surge, and it set up a great train reactions actually by Swindemeld. That was one of those cases, he went for it all, and it definitely worked out. But it's also one of those scary cases because we talk about it time and time where you go for everyone and you end up missing everyone as a result.
Yeah.
But the chain reactions was right in the middle. It hit both Tempest and Glacius right there, and the Agonizing Bonds, of course, to tear them up and get the double tap kill. So Swindemeld, man, 4-0-2, 386 gold per minute, dominating this game right now as far as just really taking over. And as you said, this isn't definitely an earlier game team, so as they should have the lead, even more dominant to an extent, but still, they are in the lead, and that's really what matters. And you talk about Tablet Command as well, how powerful of an anti-tool that is, let alone just a great item in general, of course, against the Pandemonium, and Torture wouldn't be surprised with his first item to see perhaps that Tablet Command pick up, and that's going to be very, very shortly here. And that also goes back to Pandemonium even more, so that his ultimate similar to Succubus, and we see this as a downside to her, with her ultimate being that channeled ultimate, lasting all that duration. Sure, it's great if you get it all off, but there's a big if right there, especially against these top-tier teams. So I wonder how impactful that what's called a face smash is going to be here for Pandemonium throughout this game. And on that note, I mean, everyone technically has a way to get him off of channeling the face mask, just like they do for Tempest, for that matter. So
yeah, I wanted to mention that too when Panda was picked up as well. Yeah, you're right. There's so many stuns and abilities I can cancel that on the Hellborn team. Some people have multiple ones. It's just one of those heroes that's why I don't really like him that much. His ultimate is very impractical. It's great when you're just getting solo kills, but I mean, he's a force to be reckoned with late game. I mean, he does a lot of damage, but he doesn't necessarily farm as fast as some heroes can, and he's very easily countered by a Tablet of Command or any kind of stun abilities that, Hellborn has a lot of them. So He's still doing a pretty good job. He did a great job in the laning phase, despite the lane being so pushed back. But yeah, again, as this goes longer, Magnus is level 7 now, so he's gonna have that full range stun. It's gonna be very easy to counter this Panda ult.
I mean, you are right, though, that in the sense of that mid to later game stage, I mean, he will put out a ton of damage. And this goes all the way back to the Trilane era with Fnatic Reiko, or back then Fnatic MSI once again, where that Pandemonium Trilane was actually one of the first very popular Trilanes that we saw. And we saw the power of him as a result of that. I mean, you get that demonic breastplate, especially, and he just tears you up with all that minus armor between his flick, between that demonic breastplate, and you know the flurry auto attacks thrown in there. It's just ridiculous the damage output that he can actually do. So that is a scary thing still. So even without the face smash, I mean, definitely intimidating. But obviously, he does lose a big part of the hero if he's not able to use the face smash at the same time. Now, Forsaken Archer also is having a fairly good game. Again, Shams actually did a pretty good job in the middle lane, especially considering the circumstances, although he's going to take a blast shot right here. Offensive Master's Call used on a Fade to get her in range for the Burning Shadows. Gets the kill, but Master of Arms at what cost right here will go down. Plague is going to go bounce around though, and the Plague is going to be huge. Tempest ultimate. Tempest will fall shortly after, and the Plague did so much damage right there, so that was great positioning actually coming out from Fitscape, playing that Plague. And this is not over just yet. Bubbles cut off to the side. We do see a great cannonball stun though from Pandemonium. Gets a Kona Fade. Down goes Fade, down goes Plague. The piercing arrows just tearing up the Hellborn team right there. And talk about great positioning, although Magnus actually comes in with an eruption. The Lava Surge hits 3 heroes, gets the Kona 1, and now Magnus going to try to make the escape of the Sentry. I don't think that's going to happen, although he will avoid the cannonball stun. 4 seconds. Oh. Nope, not going to be close enough. And he even gets chucked in the air as a dead body with a flick right there. And a Genocide sure enough to finish. Coming up for Clan Milk. Now, granted, Shams did buy back, but still, I think it was worth it.
It was definitely worth it. They got a really good ultimate there, and right there you just see how good Bubbles is. I mean, despite him getting completely decimated in the top lane, and again, when I say that, I want to say it like that's what was supposed to happen. He's supposed to get owned in that lane, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't need those items. All he's good for, well, what he's mostly good for is his ultimate, as well as the silence that comes out. And the ultimate was a really well-placed ultimate. His silence coming out was great. He also did a really, really good take cover that happened towards the end of that fight there onto the Torture Stun. It actually almost, with his avatar, it doesn't even look like you dodge it. But at first I thought he was going to get stunned for sure, but he did dodge it. And that was a good investment of Torturer's time that he had to waste onto the Bubbles. So well played there by Cakes, and just good draft in general. I mean, you don't think about those things during the middle of the game, but that's why Bubbles is, you know, regarded as a very, very good and great suicide hero.
Yeah. Yeah, and on that note as well, and I think we saw that in the last fight, the team synergy is definitely very powerful over here on the Legion team. The piercing arrows on top of what was actually the kill, and actually a cannonball stun from Pandemonium was very effective. And speaking of cannonball stun, once again, he did go in right here, but now he's in a lot of trouble actually diving a little bit too far perhaps. And yes, he will go down. So the kill field from Bubbles, not enough to save it. In fact, Bubbles also dropping low. So that was actually a great counter coming out from DDOS, and all 5 of them are here. And they're going to aggressively push this bottom lane. In fact, Magnus may get caught. He tried to juke right there, but it's not going to happen. I almost said dodge. Mix of juke and dodge. Making up words. What else is new? But yeah, so he is there. They do get the kill. They're going to kill the tower on top of that. Now, the middle lane is being pushed in a little bit here, but the bottom tower happening, both Forsaken Archer and Tempest will have to fall back. So, very aggressive play now coming out from DDoS, and it is definitely paying off here as this game progresses on. Now, I do want to bring up Torture real quickly. And, okay, wow, there we go. Holy crap, his farm is just absurd.
Yeah.
430 gold. I was going to say, he went Gnome's Wisdom first. What do you think of that? But all of a sudden, now he has a tablet as well.
Yeah.
But
that's what Swindle likes to go. He likes to go Gnomes first. I think it's okay. It gives him the mana regen that he needs for sure. I mean, that hero does expend a lot of mana. So I think it's fine. Again, now I will say, I was just about to say I don't like Tablet against Bubbles, but here I love Tablet because, you know, we're playing against a Panda. It's a great item.
Yeah.
So, yeah, here I definitely like the Tablet of Command. I was going to say something. Oh, yeah, the Tempest. You talked about he's been kind of silent this game. I'm actually really surprised. He's super underleveled, by the way. He kind of sat in the jungle, did his own thing. And when you're a Tempest not ganking and sitting in the jungle, you should basically be the top farmer of the game because that hero farms so well. I mean, you can compare him to another jungler, say, like Ophelia. Well, Ophelia loses on a lot of the creeps because she's converting them. She's not actually killing them or getting the gold or experience from them. But a Tempest is, you know, one of the top farmers in the game early on when he's just has an unhindered jungle. Yeah. So I'm very surprised that Tempest has such low farm and low level. I mean, he is 0-2 and 1, but he needs to do something else, maybe some more team involvement, or because he's just simply not farming that.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I think a lot of that does have to do the lack of team involvement. I mean, the lack of even a gank attempting. As you mentioned, 0-2-1. He's only been involved in one of the 9 kills in total here. And at that top lane, I mean, he tried to get off an ultimate, but he died within a second after of using it. And so it really wasn't the greatest. But yeah, I mean, Ring of Sorcery and only Little Red Booties. So he's not even going to upgrade boots at this point, it seems like, which is at the very least what we usually see. He's just going to go straight into that portal key. What do you make of that? You think that, despite it being under level, is that still the smart decision?
I think just a straight shrunken head would be better. Portal key is going to be too hard to actually get a good ultimate without it getting canceled right away.
Mm-hmm.
I think a better route would be to go a more team fight pushing oriented Tempest, so like something like Steam Boots, an Astrolabe, maybe even a Barrier Idol, and then don't even get the portal key. Like I think just running in with your shrunken head active, it sounds kind of hard. Like you run in with your shrunken head, well, everyone's just going to run away. Well, that means that your positioning for everyone else in your heroes is going to be good because they're going to be constantly fearing this Tempest toll.
Yeah.
So it sounds kind of weird and donkey, but it actually works out really well if you're a smart Tempest player.
Oh, we do see initiation on Mammoth. That great line stun,
Wow.
but Torture picked off in the front lines between the piercing arrows and King Ammonium. In fact, see the flick right there, gets a kill. The Plague Goo bouncing in the background, but it's not going to do nearly enough damage. Tempest running off to the side. He has a Tempest ultimate, and there's a Tempest ultimate. Gonna pull them both. Plague Goo and Master of Arms are both going to fall, and Faye just off to the side. He has his ulti activated, but he's just sitting there knowing there's really nothing that he could do. Now, he is going to run into a lonely Glacier. He is going to open. This is dangerous. He will get the kill. And he is going to be able to fall away in time, it looks like. So at least he picked off Lonely Glacius in the end. But obviously the damage was done right there. And again, that goes back to the team synergy that Clan Milk has. If they put it together, it is a lot of power coming out.
Yeah, this is one of the things, I want to say it's like impalement syndrome, where you feel like because you're Torture, you got to get the impalement off for all that damage on the tower. But he is the #1 farmer in the game. Well, is it the game? Yeah, the game.
Yeah, still.
On his team as well. So, but he's getting caught off by these stunts, and these Forsaken Archer ultimates are hurting. I mean, they are spot on. So good job by Shams. But Torture really didn't do anything that fight. I mean, he got picked off. He was way over here to the left, like right in the front of the tower. And I just think his positioning is off. I didn't see if he got he got stunned by the cannonball. That's what it was. And I really think he needs to play a little bit more careful because he is like the investment on this team. Mm-hmm. So got to protect that investment if you're DDoS.
Yeah, you know, on that note, actually, I wonder what you think. Now, obviously, Gnome's Wisdom, and another benefit of that, especially for this game, is it does apply a 3 armor buff. And the more I'm thinking about it, Forsaken Archer, and I stressed earlier with Pandemonium especially, that's a lot of physical damage that they're putting out. I mean, do you think something like even a Frostfield play may be a good option here for Torture as the next option, or would you say the Shrunken Head route?
I think Shrunken Head is kind of a must in this game. Now, you're gonna have people say, "But Trev, like Shrunken Head doesn't work on Panda. All his abilities are physical." Yeah, but you still need it against Forsaken Archer, Glacier. I mean, there's still so much stuff. Pretty much any time you see a Bubbles, that should scream Shrunken Head, honestly, in every game. So yeah, Shrunken Head he should get, and then if it gets to much later than that, Shrunken Head, and then followed by, I would say, a Sheep Stick would be very, very strong here. It's just an overall great item.
Yeah.
Now Frostburn now finished on Forsaken Archer, so Shams went the Frostburn route. I like that. Gives her some mobility and overall good stats and all that jazz. So I think that's a fine pickup.
More items at least being on the way. Master of Arms. It looks like he's going the Nullstone route, actually. Have any preferences on the Nullstone Hero Master?
I think Nullstone is actually good against Panda. It's a very good item against Panda. So I actually like that pickup. It's also good always against Glacius. This is one of those games where it's kind of like Nullstone Shrunken are a must. Now Kongor is now being attempted by the Hellborn squad. The Impalement is also a very good tool against Kongor, as well as all the stuns that they have. So I think they're definitely going to get this. They don't have any wards up here by Clan Milk. So in fact, do they even have wards at all? No, they have wards over here by their camp, but that's about it. So good vision and good warding from DDoS. As they do suspect something is up, though, and actually they're going to stop Kongor. Wow. Very interesting.
Yeah, they that's you got to figure that's definitely a case. As obviously they set the Elemental in with Tempest, and that eventually spotted them. But great heads up. That's a case of they're all missing on the map. Where could they be? They're Hellborn. Oh, probably the Kongor pit. Let's go ahead and check there. And sure enough, Clan Milk was right. They were spot on with that. So. We have some possible initiation here in the middle lane, actually. Master of Arms kind of playing a little bit risky here. Going to put the charge shot there on a Pandemonium. You see the pulling with the Agonizing Bonds, but in comes the Kelfield, and the Legion team. There's a cannonball attempt, completely whiffing, though. The Burning Shadows hits, and he's taking a lot of damage. Meanwhile, great piercing arrows once again. Torch taking a lot of damage, but the air goes out, tableting away. Going to survive for for now. Glacius almost staying alive. Not going to happen, though, as he eventually goes into, I believe, what was a play goo, and it didn't even bounce after that. So at least he got the kill, but no bounces happening from the Plague Rider ultimate. Oh, the snipe from Bubbles, trying to maybe take out Torturer, but just not enough. So actually, only one player dying throughout the whole fight, with Glacius being the only one to drop there. So very interesting. By the way, Pandemonium did use a buyback.
I think
obviously.
he just popped back right there.
Was it just
he
right
died.
there?
Yeah, he just popped back.
Okay, wow, yeah. I was going to say. Oh, so he did end up dying to those, to that jump. That's right, of course. So,
yeah, that was a really horrible initiation by Moravis. I mean, he hit really nothing. Could have been played a little bit more conservatively right there. Bubbles actually almost got the snipe there onto Torture. Shell Surf did hit him, but the Song of Sea was not up. It was off cooldown, so he would have actually got a kill if he decided to man up on the Torture, but that's a little bit unfortunate. Yeah, again, that was a great Forsaken Archer ulti. They just, you know, with Panda diving in there too early and kind of dying before the fight even really happened, that was able to set up for a great fight in favor of DDoS, and so they were able to take that. Now they're going to continue to Kongor. And it looks like Clan Milk is still going to try to do something about this. Panda does have a double damage rune for another 22 seconds. So this is going to be a fight. I can feel it.
If they committed to it, I feel like that they could have actually killed it by now.
I agree.
But they fell back. They're playing a little bit scared here, and that may pay off for the Legion team. The Cannibal Sun misses, but Pandemonium, of course, ever since that was changed, that used to be where it actually slow him. But now he just goes back to full speed, so he does take a Burning Shadows nuke right there. Going to be fine, though. You see clear Phoenix volley, will catch Master of Arms, and piercing at the top. The defensive Master's Call going to be used by Master of Arms. Not going to be enough, though. Master of Arms dropping, but he's still alive. Tempest ultimate, though, coming in. And there's the Cannonball Sun on top. Expect a flurry, and look at how low Pandemonium is. But he don't give two shits. Doing the damage necessary. Double tap to be picked up. And Master of Arms comes back in at the last second, will fall himself. And Fade is just barely going to get on out of there. But now, not only do they begin a near genocide, but they're also going to steal Kongor as a result of this. So these are just one of those big-time game-changing moments as Moravis. Love you, man, but you are just going crazy here. As nearly died to Kongor, but he's going to be fine, and big fight one there for Clan Milk.
God, yeah, no, one of the pros of Panda is he does so much frickin' damage. I mean, that was a great hold there by Mookies, by the way. It caught 3 heroes, and Moravis' good presence of mind, as you would say, Breaky, and jumped back in there with a cannonball, even with the low health, and was able to get very easy kill on a Torturer and Plague there. Did so much damage. But really, DDoS is just not the same DDoS I've seen in scrims and playing so well. They're playing these fights very sloppily, and right there at the very end, I mean, that was an unfortunate engagement. They got caught. They just got overpowered by the numbers and the spells by Clan Milk, but Relo at the end just suicided himself for literally no reason. I mean, they talk about tunnel vision. He went on there to try to get a kill. I can't remember who was running away.
It's just in Pandemonium.
Yeah, I want to say it was Panda as well, but that was just so unnecessary. I mean, you got to think about, even if he got the kill on him, is it really worth it? Because you're going to die no matter what. Yeah. I mean, just kills like that are so easily prevented, or preventable, if that's even a word, I don't know. But, yeah, I just... Those are the things that really not need to happen at this level, and unfortunately, you see it too often, and that's unfortunate.
Big thing to know from that Kongor kill was actually Tempest picked up the Token of Life, and I found that very odd myself. I mean, you don't think Tempest as a hero would be the one to usually pick up the Token of Life, but it seems like what they were saying in chat, that was almost on accident there. They didn't even really mean to give it to him, but he has it nonetheless. So if he happens to not get his ultimate off before he dies, then he can get it off after he comes back up, I guess. But yeah, not the hero you usually would prefer it on. But hey, not the worst deal in the world, especially when you have a pretty good lead now, as does Clan Milk. And obviously with Pandemonium now finishing a Shrunken Head, you got Shams on Forsaken Archer. I'm guessing going for a Shrunken Head herself, actually, after finishing the Frostburn. So, and again, they just have definitely the much stronger team as this game progresses on. Now, at the top lane, we see obviously the Shrunken Head coming to use right there, pushing back to Melts. There's the face smash, and again with that Shrunken Head, what are they going to do? He just gets torn up, taken out right there. Tempest in the background. The Plague is still bouncing. It does bounce back to Glacius, actually, and picks up the kill on him, but you do see the Ghost Marchers on Pandemonium going to activate them and get the hell on out of there, because, of course, the Shrunken Head is now on cooldown, but at least they got the kill on a Torturer. Again, in exchange for Bubbles and Glacius, though. So it was a 2-for-1 right there. So,
yeah, I think that's fine. Like I said, this game is very early game oriented for the Hellburn side, and Fate actually just picked up her portal key there. So maybe that'll be, hopefully can help the DDoS team to get back in this game, because right now they're trailing immensely in experience. 13K, 5K gold. in lead, 5K gold lead for them. Sorry, for Clan Milk, now that they got that tower from Shams. So, you know, Legion is definitely in a good position right here. That Shrunken Head pickup on Panda is going to be so huge, as we saw right there, just directly affected them. So really great pickups there by Clan Milk.
So that's now actually a third portal key, by the way, over here on the Hellborn team, because not only did Torturer have one, but Magnus also just got his recently. So they got a lot of initiation, and you got to figure that's going to be the name of the game here, or the weapon of choice even for DDoS. That's about jumping in and trying to catch Clan Milk off guard and maybe picking them off here and there. So, you know, when will that really start happening, though? Because obviously it hasn't really taken place, at least just yet. And also on top of that, I wanted to bring up Master of Arms once again. We talked about it. Of course, he did go the Nullstone route, and about another 1,100 gold saved up for now. I actually am very curious what he's going to follow this up with. But something about his Master's Call, by the way, you know, more so, we do see the defensive Master's Call a lot more of the time, but the offensive Master's Call can be very beneficial too. And it's what a lot of people forget. And I definitely have to keep checking it myself to remind myself, but it does also increase cast speed. So you put it on somebody like Torturer if you're going into a fight, you can imagine he can actually get a quick chain reactions off, agonizing bombs and whatnot. And I don't even know if it would, but if it even affects the ultimate as far as the amount of ticks it does per second.
That's a good question.
That would actually be pretty crazy, but yeah, I'm not sure if that's effective. But still, even the chain reactions alone makes it pretty powerful. And again, it gives them a burst of speed as well. So something to keep in mind about the hero.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I'm not quite sure, but I do know that the offensive Master's Call actually really works well with Fade. If you think about it, he goes around. It just gives him actually quite a big boost of damage there when he tries to get some solo kills off throughout the game. So hopefully we'll see that happen sometime this game, because that's actually really fun to watch.
Yeah, I know that with Soul Stealer was actually a combination that was talked about for a little bit. Activate on Soul Stealer, get him a quick ultimate as a result. In big team fights, but obviously Soul Stealer not a hero that we see on the competitive scene. Although he did get some, he got some changes today. I kind of assume that they're buffs, but I don't even know if you saw them. But it was a matter of something about the amount of souls actually more so affecting the ultimate and how much damage it actually does, or something like that. And yeah, you can read the changelog. It's in. I don't know why I'm trying to explain it while not looking at it, but. Anyways, back to this game. We do see a top tower push happening right here. Soulsborg set to offensive, of course, for Pandemonium, and that just helps destroy the tower right there. And this push, I would assume, is just going to keep going. You see the double Shrunken Heads, as we talked about, one on King Ammonium, one on Forsaken Archer, and actually Tempest, his is definitely in the works as well. So those are just going to start adding up here. And you know, we kept stressing how much of an early game this team was for DDoS. Well, you know, we're definitely in more of the mid-game stage now, and it does. You can definitely feel it with the momentum. But perhaps this is maybe a one last go right here. Fade, a great jump actually. Wow. Tempest up playing on top of that, and Tempest will fall as many bubbles right here. So a great job. Now, granted, Tempest is going to come back up, so the token of life may end up paying off right here. Plaguerider's going to fall. Forsaken Archer and Pandemonium just did way too much damage there, despite the solid initiation from DDoS. See the offensive master's call, but the Tempest ultimate catches. However, great chain reactions to stall it immediately after. But Master of Arms still very likely going to fall. Gets top at 4. The portal key away from Swinnamelons, but Master of Arms going to die. And again, like I said, I think this is honestly getting to a point of, for DDoS, you know, how much more time do they really have here in this game?
Shams is having one hell of a series, by the way. He's playing great this entire series. And I mean, that just is a testament to how farmed this Legion team is. There couldn't have been more perfect initiation from Fade. That was a very, very good initiation by Get Violator there. A lot of people sometimes when they ultimate from Fade, they feel like they have to, you know, break out of it and get that extra damage. But he saw 3 heroes in a perfect line stun, and he got it. And then the Plague ultimate happened right after, so great job by Fiska. But there was just so much turn coming out from Panda. He popped that Shrunken Head and just did so much damage along with the ultimate from Shams and all the other spells from the rest of the team. I mean, like I said, that couldn't have started any better.